Mr. Vivek Khanvilkar, Vice President of SFE Digital and Direct Marketing at Pharma, Sagar Phapale, Associate Director, Respiratory at Cipla, Mr. Prasath Guruswamy, Senior Vice President at Glenmark Pharmaceuticals, and Dr. Manoj Kumar, Executive Vice President at Intus Pharmaceuticals Limited. And this panel discussion would be moderated by Mr. Vivek Sharma, the Head of Learning and Talent Development at Kerala Pharmaceuticals. And this discussion will explore the current scenario of digital transformation in pharma marketing. So let's quickly dive in. So Mr. Prasath Guruswamy is a distinguished leader with over 20 years of experience in pharmaceutical marketing, brand building and strategic innovation. And currently he is the head of chronic cluster at Glenmark India and head of Glenmark Nepal. Mr. Prasath has consistently showcased his expertise in digital innovation and patient-centric initiatives. Moving on to Mr. Vivek Khanvilkar. He has over 30 years of experience in strategic business development, project management, and people management, and he excels in leading growth and technology. Currently, he is the Senior General Manager at Sun Pharma. And Vivek has held influential roles at Glenmark Wockhardt, showcasing his strengths in market research and consulting strategy. Dr. Manoj Kumar is an accomplished leader in the pharmaceutical industry, serving as the Executive Vice President and SBU Head for Super Specialty at Intus, overseeing oncology, critical care, and plasma therapy. With a rich background that includes tenure at Novartis, AstraZeneca, and ICICI Bank, Dr. Kumar holds an MBA from IIM Bangalore. He is an inspiring leader and a member of the CFA Society, embodying excellence and dedication. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Sagar Phapale with over 2 decades of rich experience in sales and marketing. Sagar Phapale stands as an agile leader and a proven growth driver in the field, and his experience includes MNCs and Indian pharma giants, including Cipla, Abbott, UCB, and Dr. Reddy's. And I'm pleased to introduce our moderator for today's session, Mr. Vivek Sharma, the Head of Learning and Talent Development, Kerala Pharmaceuticals. He is a seasoned techno-commercial professional with over 12 years in L&D, OD, TD, and sales training, along with 10 years of commercial selling. He's also previously worked at MNCs such as AstraZeneca and AbbVie. And one point to mention that he would be presenting a workshop later on towards the end of our session on insights for pharma marketers. Please do not miss on this event. It's a fun workshop that has been organized just for you. Please join me in welcoming the panelists and moderators.
Thank you. Thank you, Pharma State Academy, for inviting me here. And I'm very happy to host such a marvelous panel, bright and progressive professionals. So first of all, I will start. Normally people say that they need no introduction, but they don't take risk. They do the tradition. Actually, and what my friend has done. Actually, these people does not require any introduction. The whole industry, they are thriving forces. So secondly, I was also, thinking to start this discussion, I will just take hardly 45 seconds. There is some movies are cult movie, which are not commercial success, but they are talked. People talk about those movies, but they never earn money. Some movies are classic movies, which are successful also, and they are talked also. Digital is a cult actually, according to me. It never succeeds in pharma, but every conference, it is the most talked word. So I feel that. Today I was thinking that how I will start this discussion, right, with such a, progressive people. And nothing, you see their work, their career, and their digital initiatives, some of the top companies, and the companies which touch the last mile patient or last mile doctor. So what should I talk with them? So that is so, sir, I feel with this panel discussion, at the end, we will try to also make digital a classic from the cult. So that is the objective of this panel discussion from my side actually. Now I will ask Mr. Vivek, and definitely it is not due to my name is also Vivek. It is the order given by the panel. That first question, sir, is for you. That how do you see the integration of digital and direct marketing shaping the pharmaceutical industry's future? So you have to talk about future, and in a short, message also, sir.
A very good afternoon to all of you. Okay, let me start. It's a very interesting question, and I'll start highlighting why I said it's interesting. In your question, you spelled digital and digital marketing as two distinct words. And that's exactly, I strongly believe it's very important for us to realize in
So
many
digital
occasions.
and direct marketing. What I said.
Direct marketing, yeah. or digital marketing. The point is, maybe I'll try and take a step back and give you a little larger, broader horizon, the way I cut across this whole word digital and how it's impressing upon our pharma market. It's very important for us to realize that when you talk of digital or digital marketing, principally, at least the way I see, we need to realize its relevance from three different and I would say very distinctive lenses. In our industry, at least in the last 3 to 5 years and the coming years, there is one lens which is about I can say process efficiency or optimization of how we do things today in a manual approach. And the digital interventions or digitalization of what we do today significantly is having a higher potential to improve the productivity and cut across the time processing. And that's where, as and when we start thinking about digital, we need to keep on applying, identifying use cases, opportunities which will allow the digitalization to improve the process efficiency and productivity. That's one lens. And there are several initiatives that one can think about. The other lens of digital, of course, is marketing, the most favorite and pet for all of us. And when we say marketing, and the way I again believe is with the digital intervention in the marketing, it's not about only one stakeholder. We'll have to start evaluating and looking at the opportunities from all different stakeholders that we can address. I mean, right from the most obsessed stakeholder is obviously the doctors, but then it's equally getting important for us to look at patient as another stakeholder, how we can address. The third, our own internal stakeholders, our field force, how can we leverage them to be able to deliver the digital, I would say, messages to our end stakeholders. And last but not the least, the other allied stakeholders, whole channel partners, the whole ecosystem which is also evolving. How can we capitalize all of them cohesively to be able to leverage the digital marketing? So digital marketing is not about what we do and how we connect to doctors alone, but then all the other stakeholders have to be also integrated, should be integrated in the whole strategic thinking. And the last, and I believe the most important, and probably it has an element of answer to your question about digital marketing be perceived as cult kind of a movie. I think it's important that we don't understand how do we analyze the digital marketing impact. In my own opinion, the third lens of digital intervention has to be looked upon from analytics. Because that's one channel which has its own trails, its own footprints, and it gives you an instant feedback. The only problem is what we are today obsessed when it comes to feedback, especially from a sales marketing vertical, is only money. I think we need to change that lens from looking at the digital marketing impact or a ROI purely from money-centric to some other conventional and very interesting KPIs, which the digital interventions allow you to basically track. And hence, at an organization level, when we are trying to look at the shaping of the future of pharma industry, I think as long as we look at intervention opportunities from the lens of efficiency enhancement, optimization of processes, the second lens of anything that we can do in the marketing space, and the third lens, how can we use that data and improve our analytical capability to again fine-tune your own opportunities to market or improve the process. So these are three lenses I think should clearly shape of the pharma industry in the future.
Wow, sir, what we can expect from a seasoned SFE professional like you start with process. And the first lens is such an important lens. If that is set right, other two lenses also follow. And you also said that marketing and the allied sector, you talk about the stakeholders and analytics. You ended at some metrics also. And very, nicely, sir, you have helped me to also come to my second question, which actually and logically is also on metrics. And I will like to ask this question from Sagar. Sir, so as Vivek has ended his discussion on metrics and the KPI, that if can be well defined but not necessarily monetary, but it can be non-monetary or some process related KPI. So what can be, which metrics you believe should be prioritized to measure the digital transformation?
What I believe is, I think we all exist sitting here in this room is ultimately because of one person sitting out there is the patient. So many a times, as Vivek also rightly pointed out, I'll just take the lead from where he ended the discussion. We directly reach out to ROI or the monetary part. But our sole existence is only because of the patient out there. So patient has to be the first thing which should come into the any discussion. And from patient centricity perspective, if I look at the first metric, what you're talking about, I'll start with the patient-centric this patient support programs, which now many therapies, many organizations are having
The PSPs
in different
you're talking.
patient support, PSPs, be it diabetes, be it cardiology, or be it onco, and not just now the chronic therapies, even in acute therapies, in many other forms, these patient-centric programs are there. So what is the impact of this patient-centric program? First of all, the most important thing is what the HCP looks at is the therapy, the treatment outcomes. So from that perspective, I think therapy adherence is what we all struggle at, and even the doctors struggle. So is my patient support program helping in improving the patient adherence? That is the most important stuff.
Okay.
Next, if I look at again inside-out approach, rather than again jumping outside, if I look at some of the internal metrics, like I do a lot of campaigns or a lot of stuff, and as Vivek rightly pointed out, we have processes set in, reportings are there. Out of that, what do we monitor? Is my execution first right? So from the process perspective, is it reaching out to the right? What is the percentage execution? Is it reaching out to the right specialty? So that becomes, and then we start looking out after looking at patient and the inside approach, the other, because I think digital is the buzz today.
True.
If I see, we just pick up today's newspaper itself. There is an article which talks about SBI very much ready to take on all the competitors, and they don't want to take on the competitors from any other perspective. They're banking on technology. They are saying we won't cut the rates. We will offer the services. And they are banking on the digital services. So digital is a thing that can bring a lot of difference. E-pharmacies, many a times we look at only putting some ads or stuff in the e-pharmacy banner. What are we looking at? What is the metrics? The metrics can be, is it improving the therapy adherence again at the patient level? Is it bringing out any change in the buyer behavior? So these can be the metrics. Similarly, the EMR data. EMR data, many a times it is thrown off just like any other prescription data what we look at, or the IQA or the SMSRC or CMARC. So many other things we have been looking always. Can we look at it in a different way? Can we bring about some behavior change, or can we look at the prescription pattern, which age group or what it is going, and accordingly can we bring about the change in the positioning of our products, the way it is going. So I think these are the different ways when we look from different perspectives, right from patient till the HCPs, and the last part is even from I think the digitalization has also affected the pharmacies, stockists, and all the supply chains. What are we doing over there from that data perspective? So there again the metrics can be, are we able to bring about any behavior change or the buyer pattern change in this through my digital initiatives. So digital metrics, it has to be different for all my customers, as Vivek was also talking about. Different, all the stakeholders has to be taken into account, and accordingly it cannot be one. So I think that's the way it should be.
Sir, thank you. And I was really impressed the way you were restricting yourself not to talk about commercial KPIs, and you have well articulated 5 KPIs which were non-commercial, like patient centricity, like behavior change of the buyers, bringing the other lens of the, what you say, inside out that also in the discussion. And it is very, very actually easy to bring commercial or financial KPIs in the discussion, but you really have saved that, and you have actually steered the discussion what Vivek has started. Thank you. Now, sir, my question goes to Prasath. What I will ask you, sir, there is a lot, as sir says, ki buzz, and I also started with the cult, right? It is not becoming successful, right? Whatever the digital transformation we are trying or thriving. So how do you approach the challenges? Suppose there is a challenge, but what is your approach to see that challenge? So maybe various geographies, if you see the infrastructure, how you see those challenges? What is your mindset to see those challenges?
Yeah, thanks, Vivek. Good afternoon, all. So it's like, when you said cult movie should end up as a classical movie, it's like talking to a film producer 15 years before about OTP channels. So they simply didn't get it. So we hope that, we also transform to that kind of a success.
True.
So the challenges is geography, I would, say, if suppose we talk about, the urban or extra-urban, there are different challenges exist in these two areas when it comes to digital transformation. So I would talk more from a strategic standpoint. I would not get into the technical, the aspect of it. First and foremost is the rural area. When we talk about the key challenge, we often from pharma, marketing, we feel that, there is no penetration of whatever, the digital thing, but it is highly penetrated. We know that social media and stuff like that has penetrated in rural area to larger extent. Its only thing is that they might be still watching Facebook and even Insta. Those digital payments, they are using it, but not the healthcare related aspects. So how do we tackle that challenge? There, the challenge to be tackled through the HCPs. Today, even Dr. Sanjay also spoke about, how do you educate those HCPs, especially the RMPs and the non-MBBS doctors. Just to take digital to them should be the first stuff we should do it. Long way to go when it comes to, how do we create that, impact digitally in rural area. So we are attempting a lot of stuff there. So since I know that, how do we go about it? So we should feel that we should take this to the HCPs and then make sure that they understand the whole piece of it. And then we need to collaborate with primary health centers and so on and so forth to carry out some kind of an education and then try to understand the localization, language. So create a content which is appropriate to that particular region, and then the language in which they understand. So these are all the key elements. The biggest challenge with respect to geography, when we talk about rural, the data. So we don't have the proper, the demographics digitally captured, especially with respect to our industry need, even with HCPs. So we don't have sufficient data as we have it in the metro or class 1 or the urban markets. So that's one big barrier we have. Now coming to the urban, where we have seen a lot of the digital transformation has happened. Still, it is 10-15% compared to the other industries. I would say, the biggest challenge is internal when it comes to digital transformation. We don't have clear blueprint of a digital strategy. So when we make a brand strategy, as an organization, so we look at each aspect and then make a brand strategy and vision, and then we create a core brand strategy, so to say. But when it comes to digital, it is very ad hoc, because we still believe digital is only used to scale up things, your initiatives, or maybe reach to more number of HCPs.
Right.
But it's not so. So the digital strategy has to be, again, keeping the patient in center and then understand the need gap, where in that need gap which digital strategy has to fit in. Then create an ecosystem around that. Create a document. Create microsite, and then you have your, reaching to the HCPs, collaborating with them, have directory, and then geocode, and then tagging, pin code tagging, and then have a back-end support to call them and then make them go to the HCP and then do some kind of diagnosis in lifestyle, the diseases,
Got it.
and then build it that way and close the loop. So this ecosystem can emerge only if you have a strategy. So as per me, the challenge of rural versus the urban is here we lack strategy. Some of the peers in our industry are doing a good job in this, but it's very few, I could say that. And then rural area that we still we don't have any data to see which should be the targeted population.
Understood.
Yeah, that's my take on.
Many
challenges.
thanks, sir. And very categorically, you said that for rural, we have to take the digital to them, right? And you have to create a educational content which suits them. But very interestingly, what I feel, which I remember always, what you said, that there is in urban side, the digital strategy is not purely made for some problem. Either it is made for maximizing something or increasing the footprints of, but not originally from scratch. Something digital emerged to solve some problem. So that approach is missing in even the setting of urban infrastructure. So that is a very valuable point. I think very a deep dive for that. Thank you, sir. Now, sir, building on same, I will ask Manoj sir one question, which will again steer to your answer only, sir. To Manoj sir, as Prasath sir told about the different approach for urban and rural. Now, the organization you work, which is very vibrant, they commercialized the drug in minimum turnaround time, if you see, in all the therapy areas. How you tackle the regulatory challenge in digital, because there is a lot of restriction, there is a lot of guidelines are there, and even physical promotional guidelines are there in place, but digital promotional guidelines are even more tougher. So in that setup where you are, sir, how you tackle the regulatory challenges in digital transformation?
Okay, thank you and good afternoon. I think you asked a very interesting question. First of all, I will answer whether the regulatory department of the government, have they become digitalized? Answer to that is yes. These days, you don't need to go to FDA Bhavan to basically get your drug approval. You get it done online. But that was not your question. Your question was more towards what kind of regulatory challenge you face in digital marketing. I think the way we speak about digitalization is a curtain where you need to make a curtain and clothes or anything. What will work in banking industry will not work in pharmaceutical industry, surely because the regulation which is there. Here, any scheduled H drug, any prescription drug, you cannot directly advertise to the patients or caregivers. So then what comes as intermediaries is, our valued partners such as Dr. Sanjay Agarwal. Whereas when I do the digital marketing for USA or Canada, it is exactly the different. I have every right and every regulation to reach directly to the consumer. So this is what is changing in India. So what becomes very important is, if I am not able to reach out directly in terms of my value offering, I know my framework that this is what I can do, this is what I can't do. So I need to use a media to communicate about my product. I was just Googling, I was there in an oncology conference in the morning, and I was trying to Google, per oncologist, there has to be a population he needs to attend is 2.8 lakhs. And if you see, even the incidence case, there are around 20 lakhs cancer cases which happens, and total number of oncologists is 3,000 to 4,000. So,
you are saying one oncology is addressing 2.8 lakh patients in India?
Yes.
That is the per capita?
Yes, and if you go into any kind of super specialty or any kind of a physician basket, it is huge load. So nobody stops us in offering the need gap which is there. For example, how the drug needs to be taken. What is the efficacy, at the same time safety parameters. So in USA they follow, and in Europe they follow something called ABPI guidelines. That guidelines talk about, if you cannot just talk about any superlative unless you have defined what exactly is the precautions which needs to be taken. So whenever you are developing a digital marketing tool, and this is to all the youngsters who is sitting there, please have a very balanced approach instead of only talking good things about your product. Second is, there is a lot of gaps which is still exist. You talk to a doctor, by the way, I did my PhD in digital marketing, and when I was trying to reach out to around close to 3,000 super specialists, they said, see, we are loaded. Can you take off my burden? And what were the burdens? Simple information such as, if you are taking a cytotoxic drug, please take it under a proper oncology care. Please ask your nursing staff to wear an apron.
Right.
One example. I think what becomes very important is that you define your framework, you define your boundary, and please be very innovative in your communication. What is told to you, like for example, I think the sponsors of this program is Walter Kluser. They have 2 sites. Any one of you have gone into UpToDate, except UpToDate people? I guess none, right? Okay. There is a separate section for healthcare professional, and there is a separate section for patients and caregivers. The language which is spoken for the professionals are very different than the language which is spoken for the patients. So a very balanced, programmed, living within the framework which is allowed, at the same time trying to find out what is the gap which is there. Compliance, balance, side effects, what precautions to take, how long to take, what are the challenges you can anticipate. For example, a cancer patient, he or she should be told that you are going to lose your hair if you are on chemotherapeutic drug. But he or she should also be told that when the hair comes back, it is very dense and it is beautiful.
And nobody tells that actually.
Nobody tells that. Only thing which is told is, you lose your hair. The lady who is already in 60s, she says, "Mere ko marne do." But the point is, these gaps are we handling as a marketeer, despite being in the regulatory framework. One last point is, none of us stops us in talking from a patient's disease life, patient's journey. I think except for some of the multinational companies, none of us have ever spoken about the patient's disease journey. If you do a survey of any patient, they are least interested in hearing from a doctor. They are definitely not interested in talking about all the gung-hos from Dawai ki company, because the moment the suspicion comes, but they are very much interested in hearing the real life story of somebody who is a survivor, somebody who has won it with all odds. If you see, the patient's disease journey is one more space which we can take. Of course, we have to take their consent. So that's my there. Do what is correct, but do it in an innovative, balanced way, telling the correct information, and become that need gap provider.
Very valuable, sir. And when you talk about this regulatory challenge, and if you see company to the doctor and to the patient, your major part of the discussion was from the doctor to patient, that how the drug will be brief, how the side effects, errors of dosing or the adverse effects will be rightly communicated, and how the marketeers can create a right innovative communication that those dosing errors or those adverse effects will be rightly communicated actually, what I understand from you. And one very interesting thing which you told, that one doctor and 2.5 lakh patients, and there lies the digital scope of opportunity, and who stops you to fulfill that gap? What do you
Vivek,
say?
I missed out one point, and which is very relevant for all the young marketeers.
Yeah.
Most of the pharmaceutical companies talk about ये दवाई ले लो, हमारी दवाई बढ़िया. But there is very little talk about how to prevent that disease. And if you literally look in, all of us have read in our MBA days IDA model, attention, interest, desire and action. More we focus, and that's what came across during my research when I spoke to those patients, around 400 of them. I covered close to 3,000 super specialists. They said, the moment I see people talking about treatment, we realize कि इनको कुछ बेचना है.
True.
But the moment somebody says, how do you prevent this disease? How do you prevent cancer? How do you prevent chronic ailment? What kind of precautions which needs to be taken? You create a feeling of trust that this guy is not interested in selling something, this guy is more interested in actually making sure that bimari na ho. And that works better in digital space than treatment.
So that's so noble that I have a product which actually deals with a disease, but I am promoting that how this disease will not happen. So actually, I am actually contradicting my own promotional in some way, but you have a noble cause that if it is done well, it can create a different kind of patient centricity. So thanks you for this additional extra noble thought, sir. I will go back to Vivek, sir, and because the discussion is steered towards pharma marketing communication now, right? Sir, please tell us something about, as even in the morning, the doctor also shared one thing, that pharma people are sometimes overwhelming them by their over communication, over indulgence. He used the word, right? Over indulgence. So my question, and here also resonate with that, how to ensure pharma marketer does not overwhelm the end user with too much information?
I think it's a very valid question in today's context. Why I say valid? Because unfortunately,
and sir, I will add last few words in this same question, because now digital ways of communication are additional. Now physical rep, virtual rep, digital rep, e-detailing, there is so much to actually make him overwhelmed. Now in this context, I need your answer.
No, I think Dr. Agarwal did make a mention that how do we make the whole experience meaningful?
Yeah.
And it's so very valid and very articulate from his point of view that as industry people or marketeers, we seldom think of a doctor as also a layman or a human being. And I keep wondering, and I'm sure most of the marketers sitting here, in your day-to-day operations, you must be coming across a lot of digital vendors who are trying to connect with you and trying to sell or at least explain to you the kind of platforms that they've built and the number of doctors who are engaging with them on their platforms. And I don't have to specifically call out on the doctor-centric platforms that are available today in the market. But every point in time I get into such conversation with any such platform service provider, everyone claims that they have more than 3-4 lakh of active customers onto their platform. And if you ask them what's the average time that the active doctors are spending, they will easily come and quote that anywhere between half an hour to 45 minutes practically in a month. And if you just simply do a math, I keep on wondering, कि अगर डॉक्टर इतना टाइम सिर्फ ऑनलाइन इनके प्लेटफॉर्म एक्सेस कर रहा है, where is he having time to actually individually practice? So when
you are talking online consultation.
Not online consultation. I'm talking of there are a lot of knowledge or networking platforms which are there available in Indian market, meant for doctors to network or actually spend active time. Add to that, we as pharma companies, we also have started to get obsessed to build our own platforms, and we are not exception when I represent Sun, but I'm sure, at least I know for sure, all the 4 representative from the respective companies, each one of us have our own knowledge-centric platform to a specific doctor specialty that we are offering. The challenge is we have forgotten. And add to that, I'm sure every brand manager, if the ones who are sitting here, we work in a very siloed manner. Every point in time, we have to start curating a particular campaign, leveraging digital as a technology. We will start looking at the whole campaign initiative from our own window, from the therapy or the brand that we represent. seldom we look at the customer as a lay human being and try and understand from his perspective what is his experience. I mean, are we okay that the customer has to remember 10, 20 different passwords and user ID logins to access 10 different platforms? I mean, how many occasions that we have also over a period of time starting to shopping online, we have now probably zeroed down onto Amazon and a Flipkart. Or when it comes to OTT, there are a handful of platforms that we all end up doing. And so would the end customer
if I'm
will be
not
doing.
wrong, being from Sun Pharma, right? This is my point. I have seen an observation. Same molecule, 3 brands are there in Sun Pharma and all are well prescribed. So how it is possible then? If they are overwhelmed, then how can they prescribe same molecule of Sun Pharma for different 3-4 division, and every brand is almost number 1, 2 or 3 in the category? How you ensure that?
Multi-branding is a very interesting separate topic. I think probably we will end up consuming the
Because
balance
what
time.
you were saying, it was a little bit opposite to that. Because Sun Pharma has that observation in the market. They have their categories, if you define, they have same molecule, 3-4 brands, and all are top in
Most of the big companies today who have multiple divisions of the same therapy have ended up leveraging. So it's a question of, I mean, I want to cut short that response to saying that it's a mind space game, and everyone would want to leverage that mind space, believing it's between relationship and the mind space. So if the doctor has a capacity to give me X percentage of prescription as a molecular therapy, I need to be in clinic present, trying to capitalize on that space, and everyone will try and equally compete and fight. The more the pressure, the better response that you would expect from the doctor. I think
Let
Manoj
me
want to
add
to
what Vivek said. By real life example, which happened with Satish and Swati. I was in Nagpur and I asked Satish and Swati, are you there? Okay. Can I do it online? Her answer was,
No.
Delegates can do it online. The panelist needs to be physically present. So it has taken me
Same thing she told me also.
4:30 early morning I come here. So answering your question is, can digitalization replace human beings? Relationship, emotions, feelings, and XYZ? Answer to that is no. The place where we are getting confused is, digital is one of the means of communication.
Yeah.
It is not the only means of communication. So, you know, it really makes a lot of difference when a guy comes in and says कि sir, हम दोनों same शहर के हैं, आपके कारण मेरा target नहीं हो रहा. It makes a difference, no?
True.
I mean that you can't digitalize. I think there was a Axis Bank ad or something, no? The guy says मैं नाई के पास जा रहा हूँ. तो and then this guy says कि अच्छा वो तो online नहीं होता ना. So that's to answer an ad what Vivek said.
No, so to come back to your point of how do we prevent the overwhelming experience that the customers having today, I think something principally as a practice that we are trying to drive, at least in my company that I represent, I think we have started to insist and kind of give a strong pushback to the marketing team to start thinking digital interventions as an integrated element into the whole brand strategy. You cannot look at digital marketing just as a buzzword and an exciting कि हमने email campaign कर दिया, social media पे कुछ campaign कर दिया, and some portals that we build, and I'm happy to be a part of the digital marketing curve. It's important that you need to start looking at what is it that today my conventional traditional marketing is not able to deliver, which a digital marketing channel either can augment, or probably digital marketing is the only channel that can help me basically deliver on that objective. As long as we're able to start thinking in that fashion, probably the whole digital marketing outcome will be far more efficient. But above all, we need to start looking at the whole digital marketing interventions in a large set of organization from a customer standpoint. I mean, if it's the same doctor and if there are 10 different representatives or 10 different kinds of touch points that the doctor is experiencing from you as a company, how can we give an integrated experience to that doctor? And even if it means that we'll have to force those changes, they will have to be done. And it has a conscious strategic decision that the organization have to take. And it's not an easy task. I mean, forget about driving this change within an organization. Today, within the same therapeutic cluster, 2 brand managers belong into the same therapeutic area. They are so secretive of what he is doing and not willing to share with the other guy. even if they are trying to represent the same molecular therapy or probably the same molecule itself. So from that mindset, unless and until we evolve and look up to the larger picture and look up at the doctor as an end consumer, as a human being, and try and think about what are those things which we can curtail. I'm not suggesting that we'll have to stall and change everything, but at least 50-60% of the things that we do today can be curtailed. And I'll cite one example. Very recently we did a survey trying to get a feedback about the interest of the HCPs around engaging with us on a digital platform, and we had a response of more than 5,500 doctors across different doctor specialties. And we were trying to get this feedback survey done about how Sun as an organization can actually connect with them. To our surprise, we felt that when we sent out, and it was a digital survey over a WhatsApp link that we had sent to all the HCPs, we felt that maybe when I'm asking a straight question, would you like to engage with us if I were to start connecting with you on some knowledge or scientific channel through a WhatsApp? I was basically kind of hypothesizing that it may be probably 30-40% doctors unaided will just say yes. To our surprise, 70% doctors, 69 to be precise, doctor said yes, I'm interested. But then when we asked them the question, what is the kind of format of content that you will want to engage with me? Gone are the days where the contemporary channel and formats of webinars and infographics that they're interested. Short video formats came in to the extent of more than 78% of the doctors said that I'll be happy to be engaged. So we'll have to be mindful of what is the format which also plays in the minds of the doctor and accordingly connect. We went further and asked them what is the frequency with which. And which is where it's important for us to internally realize, as an organization through different brand and channel of campaigns, if the doctor is getting touched practically every day or on an email or a WhatsApp, we may think it's overwhelming. But when we ask that pertinent question, what is the frequency of connects that you would enjoy or you like, whether it is daily, whether it is bi-weekly or weekly, again, more than 78% of the customers said they're okay weekly and less, of which around 29% doctors said I'm okay bi-weekly. Now, which is mean there is a need in the doctor fraternity. We had the representation of doctors as high as 20 years plus of experience to someone who's less than 5 years, which means the interest level of the doctor fraternity to engage with us is very intense and high. But then one last point before I close the response from my end. Interestingly, when we were also trying to probe them, what are then the topics that you would be interested to engage with us? And if we were to engage with you beyond science. And that is something which is a relative opportunity for us as industry stalwarts to start connecting beyond science, beyond brand, and then trying to solve his pain points and problems. And obviously topics like financial management, patient connect and servicing, how do they deal his own staff, artificial intelligence and its intervention. Those are the interesting topics which came up as a top of the mind recall. They're overwhelmed with science, but if you start talking to them on a topic which is of their interest, they'll be still connecting with you. Thank you.
I think Vivek, you said it beautifully. And sometimes I jokingly say कि हम बहुत पढ़ाने के mood में रहते हैं हमेशा. We are in the mood of teaching a lot of things. Let's face it, they are DMs. We are not, right? But there are a lot of gaps. The moment we try understanding a customer to be a human being, a lot of needs come out of it. Like you mentioned, financial,
non-science topics, yeah.
Parenting, how to take care of your human emotions and multiple factors. Where, when I was doing my research work, first question which got asked was, what is that you're interested in know from a pharma company? He said, commercial information, दवाई का दाम कितना है, कहाँ available है, कितने देर में आ जाएगा.
Understood.
These were the basic informations which said, don't tell me about glimepiride role in cardiac patients, please. So what is relevant, what is important? And just to add, many a times we are in a mood to do a lot of big things, SEO, SERP and integrated management. But when I asked this question to the doctors, their first answer was WhatsApp and email. Whereas all of us as marketeers have forgotten these two important tools, which is still relevant. You go and ask a doctor, sir, कैसे भेजूं? WhatsApp कर दे. Email, if the data is little more. So going back to the conventional thing which we still used to do, and if it is relevant, we should pick it up and then we should try to adapt.
True. Very interesting, sir. And what I remember from your point, you give most of the weightage to your second lens. First lens was productivity when you said. Second was marketing. So you said marketing. And interestingly, you have done a survey for digital on digital, right? The survey for the digital was done through digital media only. So it says itself ki the mode of taking that feedback is also digital. So it's a great, and your analytics also says 69% total response and 70 and 75 between that the agreement and yeses were there. So very interesting. And the size of the company, sir, you are in, which is a large size company, and it's not a small numbers. Looking at the coverage, so it's a very healthy, positive responses, and it's not a COVID time where we cannot meet physically. After that, also people are so positive. So thank you for sharing that. I will end up now, start the ending, things. Let me ask you one question very quickly. You have to just answer me in one word. So if digital transformation is there, what is your top priority customer? Is it patient, is it doctor, or is it rep? Vivek sir. One word answer only.
Patience.
Patient. Prasath sir. For digital transformation, most of the weightage you will give to patient.
Consumer, yeah. Patient.
Consumer, that is patient. Manoj sir.
Same patient.
Patient. And Sagar sir.
Yeah, agree. It has to be patience.
Patient. So most of the digital transformation, these leaders want to lead towards patient. Why not rep? My question, because I am in sales training. So I will, maybe Swati, this is not a prescribed question, but I am asking this. And I will not leave the opportunity from such a senior, leadership. Sir, why not rep? So let's start with Prasath, sir.
See, there are two models. One is digital and number two is phygital. So we run a big project of e-coverage. So we see two cohort saying that one is e-coverage, there is no intervention of any of the reps.
Okay.
The other one is phygital, where the enrollment itself starts with the reps, through the reps. They go with iPads, so on and so forth. But to our surprise that the relative difference in terms of adoption is almost like same.
So adoption at rep level?
No, adoption at the HCP level.
HCP
of adapting
level.
the digital initiatives.
Okay.
So in one population, in particular, cohort, you send the rep, do a digital, the enrollments, and there onwards the program starts.
Okay.
The other cohort, nobody goes there. Directly you push, there is a caller, take the consent and so on and so forth. The intervention is same. The initiatives are same. Respond rate, click-through, adoption, engagement is almost same in both the cohort.
Understood.
That means what? If you are really thinking of digital, you should not get stuck with, our physical model of people face to face.
So you says ki
There's a different thing. So there's nothing to challenge the face-to-face interaction of the reps. That's going to remain for next 30 years.
And it also
But it's a future forward. If you're thinking of real digital thing,
Got it.
then you should come out of that, complete the model of face-to-face, think completely different. As Vivek said, I agree that one of the area which even the HCPs came out and said, we would like to have a video form of your, whatever, the content has been pushed. The click-through is very high, less than a minute or whatever. So we need to identify the need gap, the problem to be solved for them, and then you push those kind of content, engage them through that. Then the success is there.
Thank you, sir. And very rightly said, for rep, it should be more of physical, a blended approach. So my last question to Sagar, sir. In your opinion, which digital trends which will have most profound impact? One or two, which will impact not only Indian pharma company but MNCs also, and which will definitely move the digital from cult to classic. So what are those digital 2-3 trends which are doable, actionable, practical?
See, practically, if I talk about, I'll take lead from what Prasath said some time back. The way digitization has improved not just in the urban part, but even the rural part. Maybe they are looking at Facebook and other things and not the stuff which we are talking about. Okay. But there is always a scope through some way to reach out these patients. Again, I'll talk from a patient first perspective. If you're talking about therapy building and generating more patients and through awareness and building better treatment outcomes. If there is awareness, they will reach out to doctors, HCPs. There will be proper diagnosis. So awareness is the first part.
Patient awareness is
Patient
one.
awareness, and that will happen through more of this digitization. I feel that is going to be the future trend. And second, what I look at is, see, because now digital, this buzzword, if you look at, 10 years back, maybe when we used to talk about digital marketing, everybody wanted to have their own website. Later, everybody came out with their own app. Right. And that's how things kept on evolving in the digital thing. Today, the digital buzzword is, what I look at is the most commonly thing is AI. Now, how artificial intelligence is shaping out in pharma industry from a future trend perspective, that can be a very
Second
much
trend is
second thing which will rule for the future.
So you said patient awareness, and second is the AI.
Yeah.
These two will be the trends which will shape up and have the most profound impact. Yeah. Right. So thank you, sir. And before we end, maybe we can take, Swati, one question from the audience. Any one question from the panel, any panelist you can ask. Yeah. You need the mic. Okay, I will come to you. Or you can just... only one question, and please ask a good question. Yeah.
Achha. So a lot of restrictions on asking questions, 1, 2 and good, bad. So I do not know whether good or bad. I had a lot of questions, but then Swati has told me I need to ask only one.
Go ahead.
And I will lose an opportunity to ask questions to such an elite panel. So a lot of things were discussed. I think I'll ask, it was started by saying that cult and classic and all things. So I think what doesn't get measured doesn't get counted. So what should be the goals of digital marketing? Because making videos or visual aid, digital visual aid, all are okay. Unless it gets measured, it will not be given a due credit. So what, according to you, should be the goals of digital marketing? How can those goals be aligned with the marketing goals, with the divisional goals, and in line with the organizational goals, so that it gets measured and it also gets counted? And in case there is time, then what are the initiatives that Mr. Vivek, in specific, you saying it is very difficult to incorporate digital marketing? What are the initiatives that as an organization you are taking so as to align? You said there are differences between product managers themselves. So what are the initiatives that the organization is taking so that to develop that culture of incorporating digital marketing into their plans?
So you want to know digital marketing goals, right? And from whom you want to know out of the panel?
It's an open question.
So, sir, now ball is in all of your
Okay, I'll make an
courts.
attempt and you augment. Okay, because what Vivek goal is and my goal is different in digital marketing. I mean, I completely agree with you. Anything which doesn't get measured is not successful. And if the impact is on revenue generation, it is more successful. You are with me, right? We all are. Completely agree. Now, what actually is happening currently is that we are in a dating phase of digitalization. You understand? We are trying to understand what is working, what is not working. Once the actual marriage, which is likely to get over in a few years, then you understand what to expect, what to not to expect, right? Now, in case of measurement, I think the same tactics which is used by those organizations which is into banking, which is into various other space, which is much more advanced. In fact, the role of digital adoption by pharmaceutical companies is one of the poorest. It is one of the highest in banking industry and many more. So there again you have a filter model. How many queries were raised? An example. How many were warm queries? Out of those warm queries, what happened to those conversions? And what was the impact on the business? The challenge here is, right now everything is so fluid that it is very, very difficult to give a year mark to what is the digital effect and what is a physical effect. That's why we are pushing to make it a khichdi to begin with. Later on it will get very well defined. Vivek, do you want to add something? I know you are a SFE head, so and I'm a SBU head.
No,
so
I
it
want
becomes
to
very
answer
different.
the second part of your question. I mean, in specifics, what is it that, let me be very specific about the goals. I think in principle, the goals will differ basis which is the digital intervention that you're trying to do and drive in an organization. But let me give you a few examples and few specific measurement KPIs, how we are trying to track. And one of the very key big advantage of today's world within digital marketing to leverage in a pharma company is a classical outreach program. I'm not sure how many of you will relate. When I say outreach, we're trying to run some engagement programs with doctors. End of the day, expecting the business returns and brand prescriptions, but not physically getting in touch with the doctor. So these are classical non-personal communication channel programs. So it could be a combination of only digital or a telerep plus digital. Now we have been running such programs, and at least one of our internal program has been nearing now 3 years plus consecutive years of. Now, for such kind of a program, when we are trying to have a fixed count of doctors which are getting targeted and engaged, or we are attempting to engage with them on a digital channel over a longer period of time, a simple KPI that we are trying to measure out of, say, if I am targeting, say, 10,000 doctors, how many doctors are responding or at least engaging? And in today's digital world, the engagement data is available. If I'm sending an email, I'm able to track the open rates. If I'm sending a WhatsApp message, it gives me the click rates. SMS today is losing its steam, but then predominantly on a pure non-personal channel, WhatsApp, email picks up. But then it's not about only measuring what number of doctors are opening a particular campaign that you have sent in a particular week or a day. The question is about consistently being engaged. Now, all that data you can easily track. If you have a cohort of 10,000 doctors whom you have attempted to engage over a period of, say, 12 months, what percentage of that cohort of doctors have consecutively engaged with you, maybe all through the 12 months? How many of them have an open rate which is much higher? So you are able to have an ABCD classification of those set of doctors, very much doable in the today's digital context. Second, another very classical, I would say, approach in the digital horizon measurement matrix is an NPS. NPS is something that NPS is Net Promoter Score. Where you're trying to seek a feedback about the whole experience of a particular target audience around any digital engagement that you're trying to do. And that's one of the best measures for any digital engagement across industries. You need to do that at a periodic level. If not once in a quarter, once in 6 months for sure. And with a targeted set of audience, you keep on tracking the NPS score and some basic 2-3 basic questions wherein you get a feedback. You are able to gauge the level of interest and the engagement of those doctors. So here in that programs, our interest is not about only what is the convergence of this program into rupee value business straight away on day one. No, you cannot. But in parallel and during the course of this program, as long as you're able to measure the stickiness of the program and the consistency of engagement with the targeted set of audience, the fact that, and this is no force fit, any such programs, or for that matter, any digital channel program, it's not something that you can force an audience to engage with you. There is a voluntary choice the customer has. Now, as long as you're able to track those, engagement rates, and over a longer period of time, I think the answer is there within the ability itself of the digital technology. So I don't see it's difficult, but it should never start with the rupee value business. And let me also, Manoj or Prasath may tend to little disagree with me, or maybe even Sagar. I have not had a privilege of heading a P&L directly in my entire 27 years of career. But then the point is, because the traditional sales rep model has worked and we have operated only through that, is there a way today that we can actually point a finger and say this is the sales and business and incremental change that has happened in a particular rep territory for a brand only because of a sales rep or only because of that in-clinic call? No. Today, as an organization over the last several years, we have also evolved as an industry. I'm engaging with the customer not only through the sales channel, but I'm having so many scientific events. I'm doing a lot of other collateral activities. I've got whole line function, approaching and connecting with the doctor. We can't pinpoint to one particular channel. And within that rep also, I'm giving LBLs to in clinical inputs to a lot many engagement. Which activity has given you how much results is very difficult. It's all a combination of 10 things that we're doing together. So why do we expect a very, very pinpointed answer out of digital? Digital also becomes one of the augmented channels along your conventional channel, and as long as collectively you are getting a better business outcome, I think we should be happy. As an industry, we should mature and
I will give
accept
you.
the fact.
So thankfully, sir, you gave three things, the answer for your question, if I squeezed into 3 lines. Number one, what he said, ki, how many doctors you want to cover through which channel. That goal should be well defined. Number 2, he say, what NPS we want to achieve, right? How should we see promoters, distractors and net promoter score. And third also, you said the last point, right? That non-rep channel, how much and how many doctors you want to cover through that channel, only non-rep channel, because rep channel is already there. So sir, to add last few
just
comments.
to add to what Vivek said, I think he rightly pointed out that this is all about omni-channel. So you have to look at this as one of the channels, and besides your first question itself, what should be my goals for digital marketing? Digital marketing goals, ultimate goal if you're talking about, it cannot be different from my marketing goals. It has to be married to the parent goal. What is your goal for your brand? Digital is one of the omni-channel strategies, and digital cannot work in silos. It has to be married and it has to be part of the parent strategy. So this can be one part of that, it cannot be different. So that is very, very important, because we have seen in many organizations now, we have a separate digital team, and many a times e-commerce operates separately, maybe digital team operates separately. Then here we are looking at everything only about, chalo, email open ho gaya, conversion. But what is the final conversion rate? And if it is not married to your parent strategy, then just doing digital as part of your brand plan, because that is a tick mark, that is not going to help. It has to be married, it has to be a comprehensive one. And I'm even today okay if one of my brand doesn't have a digital part in it, if it is not required. We need not force fit it because someone else is doing and everybody in the world is doing, even I need to do it. Do it only when required, because ultimately, please understand, somewhere someone had taught me right in the beginning of the career, as a brand manager, you have to be very much aware of 3 things. You need to have knowledge, be it scientific or be it a brand knowledge. You should be able to apply it in a right way, be it a market knowledge, scientific knowledge, customer knowledge, anything. And third part is very, very important, is what is the cost that that will need. Because this is the cost which is going to add. If it is not going to give results, I am still okay with no digital.
So you said non-digital brand should also be, you can even track your digital intervention brand and plus non-digital. So there can be a case study within your basket only with this approach. So thank you, sir. And I observe one thing, when there is a support function there and support function here, there is a bracket. In that bracket, there is a P&L. So we have designed like that. So thank you so much. And as you said, sir, what you say, date and marriage. Actually, we have converted the cult into classic, right? Because date is cult, right? And classic is marriage. So we have achieved our outcome of this discussion. Thank you so much.
Thanking you, each one of you for this thought-provoking session, and each and every one of you touched upon the nitty-gritties of digital marketing, and we were indeed elated to learn something new from you today. My sincere apologies to Mr. Prasath for mispronouncing your name earlier. And I would like to invite Mr. Girdhar Balwani to present the mementos to the panel.